Hello, Nini.
Hello.
I just want to check that everything is working. Everything is okay?
Yeah.
Okay, خلاص perfect. Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Hi. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll just wait for a couple of minutes before we officially start. Maybe 2 more minutes. Okay, it's 4 o'clock on the dot, so I guess we can start. Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. And so my name is Nyydya Nazareno. I'm a licensed OT, and this afternoon's topic would be about pre-writing activities for successful handwriting. Okay, so what is handwriting to start? So it is essentially, handwriting is very important in our day-to-day. As children or for children, it is their bread and butter for school participation and academic achievement. And for us adults, it is used at work or everyday lives, such as making grocery lists and making reminders, planning and organizing. So, but for this afternoon, let us focus on its importance in our children today and why must we demystify the prerequisites of handwriting. So in this research by Taverna et al., they describe handwriting as an essential skill for school-age children and takes up more than half of classroom activities in early elementary years. It is considered a fundamental skill in early education and is important for both academic success and everyday life. All right, so before handwriting, there is pre-handwriting. These are the basic skills that one needs to master in order to be confident and successful. Handwriting in itself is a very complex skill made up of building blocks, which we will discuss in the next few slides. So pre-handwriting skills includes foundational performance components such as visual motor integration, which we will discuss, and in-hand manipulation skills, and also gross motor skills, which we will cover in the next few slides. Okay, before we formally proceed, I want to do a little icebreaker. Can anyone guess which of these activities shown are pre-writing tasks? And you can explain why or why not. So you can unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat. No problem at all. I will give everyone a few minutes. So for those who just joined, before we proceed, this is just a little icebreaker. Can you guess with the pictures here, which of these activities are pre-handwriting activities? And can you explain why or why not? So you can either unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat. No problem. There are no raw answers. Just what do you think at the top of your head? Is this which of the pictures here shown are pre-writing skills or activities and which are not? So again, you can either unmute yourself or write in the chat box. Okay, Sophie here says finger painting helps with eye-hand coordination and pre-writing shapes. Very good insight. Anyway, we will proceed with this question after the discussion. So if you have a revelation after the discussion, then we will you will have the chance to express yourselves. Mary says they all are, as they are strengthening the hand and muscles. Interesting. Okay, let's proceed. If there's no one else, okay, let's proceed. All right. Let's start with our gross motor skills. So, gross motor skills here are your core strength and postural control, shoulder stability, bilateral coordination, crossing the midline. So, I would like to explain to you one by one these skills. So, core strength and postural control is important for one to sit upright the desk and maintain endurance during writing. Shoulder stability provides a stable base for hand movement, and bilateral coordination requires both sides of the body to work together efficiently. And lastly, a midline crossing allows the body or hands to move from one side to another smoothly and without the need to switch hands. So basically, your core strength and postural control is your trunk over here, the center of your body. Without the core strength and your postural control, you would observe one would be a bit wobbly, one would slouch, and this would definitely affect your fine motor control. Shoulder stability, which is directly connected to your arm, your wrists, and your hands. If one without shoulder stability, hands would be floppy, or again, it will directly affect handwriting. Crossing the midline. So if one does not have crossing the midline, you'd observe the kid would be always moving instead of moving from right to left when they are writing, they will move their whole body from right to the left. So you will see these kids will be shifting from their seats. They will have difficulty, staying in one position. So it is very crucial to know which of these factors the kid does or does not have, because this is very important in targeting the specific skills. All right. So, examples of the activities that we can provide for this for gross motor skills. So, endurance activities equate to sports such as swimming, football, dancing, anything that children do for an extended period of time and are able to do so. So playground equipment that are something we need to take advantage of for our little children. They are rich learning centers where children build strong muscles, develop strong motor planning and endurance. And us occupational therapists will never tire of recommending animal walks because they are good activities that target multiple areas, such as body awareness, motor planning, strength, endurance, shoulder stability, coordination, midline crossing, to mention a few. So this is why, your OT would always say, move around. We need to have a big space to do all of these activities because in itself, it's not just movement, it's not just gross motor skills. We are also consequentially targeting fine motor skills and in turn, handwriting. So this is why gross motor skills are a big chunk of our therapy sessions. Okay. We will proceed to fine motor skills. So fine motor skills are as shown in the presentation, and I will go through them one by one. So we will start with hand strength, is the ability to generate and sustain force in the hands and fingers. Adequate hand strength is supports pencil control, endurance, and maintaining an efficient grasp during handwriting tasks. So that is given. Next is your arch development. So your arch, you look at your hands. So you will see like different lines on your hands. When you try to bend your hand, you will see these lines. So those are your arches, the arches of your hand. And why is this important? Because the formation of the hand's natural arches allow the hand to adapt and stabilize during movement. So when you're holding your pencil like this, obviously your hand is not stiff. If it is stiff, then we have a problem with the arch development. If it is well developed, you can easily form a precision grip like this. Your grip would not be immature. And when you're writing really nice with a fluid movement like this. Okay, so that is the importance of your arch development. Okay, next is the separation of the two sides of the hand. It is the ability to use your thumb, index, and middle fingers. So basically what it means, so these are your two sides of your hand. First side and second side. And so your thumb, index, and middle finger, you will hold it like this, right? And your ring and your pinky finger will provide the stability, right? So when you're writing, obviously you're not writing in big movements. If you have a mature writing skill, you would not be moving your whole arm. You'll be moving your this side like this. Your pinky and your ring finger will provide stability, while the three of these fingers will do the precision grip and control when you're writing. Okay. Next would be your in-hand manipulation skills, the ability to move and adjust objects within your hand without using your other hand. So during handwriting, the most clear example would be, for example, when you're using your pencil. Okay, so when you're using your pencil, and when you're writing, you want to erase something if you have an error. So some kids would do this one. Okay, so that's your in-hand manipulation. So just easily rotating the eraser, that's in-hand manipulation. Some kids would write with this hand, and if they want to erase and use the eraser, they would use this hand to they would use this hand to grab it. So we want to see manipulation with one hand. So in the next slide, we will show some exercise or examples where we can target in-hand manipulation skills for flexible or managing writing tools more efficiently. Okay. So next would be grasp development. It is the progression of hand grips from immature to mature patterns. So immature patterns would be the earlier patterns like your gross grasp. So gross grasp would be, or yeah, so palmar grasp. So what we want to see in school kids would be your precision grasp, which is your, which is your thumb, which is three of these fingers when we are writing. Rather than this, a closed web space, we want to see a pretty big, nice web space there. Okay, so, okay. And next would be finger isolation, the ability to move individual fingers independently while stabilizing the others. So this would allow precise pencil movements needed for controlled and legible handwriting. Your 7 would be bilateral coordination, the ability to use both hands together in a coordinated manner. So in handwriting, we don't just look at the hand. So you know by now that we're looking at the whole body when we're writing. So with bilateral coordination, we're not just looking at one hand. We're not just looking at the grip. We're not just looking at the strength, but also the other hand. Is the other hand stabilizing the paper? Or when the child is writing, is the child tilting where the paper is? Is the child not, tilting the paper with the hand, or is the child's body following where the paper is? So we need to see fluid or coordination of the two hands. Okay, next one would be motor control and precision. It is the ability to regulate the force, speed, and accuracy of movements. Good motor control enables neat letter formation, appropriate pencil pressure, and constant spacing. So you would see if the child is able to, some kids, we see them write very lightly, or some kids very firmly. So we need to see this also. And last would be hand-eye coordination, the ability to integrate visual information with hand movements. So this is very important, especially when we are copying. And there are kinds of, and there are also like levels or stages of copying. So there's near copying, if they're able to see it, and there's far copying, if they're able to see it also at the farther placement of it. Okay, so these are just a few of the fine motor skills that we need to check and see and assess if the child has, or if the child can adapt or cannot. And then that, if not, we need to intervene, of course. Okay. All right. So in this slide, we will see activities that help or that will target the fine motor skills that we need for the child to be able to write better, or to be able to have that precision in writing. So as OTs, we can incorporate activities promoting precision and in-hand manipulation in handwriting. So when we target, or when we want to see good handwriting and fine motor skills, we aren't just practicing handwriting repetitively, because first of all, we want it to be more fun and creative for the child, so the kid can engage more and get more from that session, rather than them thinking that, oh, this session we're just going to keep on writing and writing. So we need to find creative ways for us to be able to target fine motor skills and precision. So a few and common activities would be using your tweezers. So when we use tweezers, you use these three hands. Sometimes there would be targets with the tweezers, colors, we match the numbers, match the colors, and all of this. So Play-Doh manipulation, threading the beads, pegboards, and pencil control exercises. So pencil control exercises, for us, it would not just mean tracing. It could also mean like just scribbling in one place. So scribbling, even though as simple as it sounds, you target your motor control, how firm or how light you want this kid to scribble in one place. Scribbling can also target the strength and endurance. So you can you can instruct the kid to scribble, I don't know, maybe like 3 circles to make, or 8 circles to make a grape. So scribble, scribble, scribble. So you can basically use just the pencil, or can use a lot of materials when you're targeting fine motor skills. Okay. Next. So let's proceed to the next one. Okay, so this is the third part, your visual integration skills, and we will go through these one by one again. Okay, first is your visual motor integration. It is the ability to coordinate visual information with hand movements. Okay. So this skill allows the child to copying letters, shapes, and words onto the paper. Okay, next one would be visual perception. It is the ability to interpret and make sense of visual information. So strong visual perception helps children recognize letters, words, and writing patterns efficiently. Next would be your visual discrimination. It is the ability to notice similarities and differences. between visual forms. So this is very important, especially when we're writing similarly looking letters, or the confusing letters, which would commonly be letter B, letter D, letter P, letter Q, letter M, letter N. So this is very important in assessing that as well. Next one is a visual memory, is the ability to remember visual information after it is no longer present. So this will help in writing and recall letter formations, spelling patterns, and written information. So for example, if you ask the kid, okay, can you write down this word? And then are they able to write from memory? Or do they need to trace the letter still, or do they need to copy the letter or imitate the letter? So we have to find the baseline and which level the kid is on. Okay, next would be your visual sequential memory. It is the ability to remember and reproduce a sequence of visual information in correct order. Okay, so basically, it is important in writing and ordering words, so very important in spelling specifically. As OTs, to target visual sequential memory, as simple as a memory game. So you will have cards, memory cards. You have to match which card is placed where. So simple as those games. Next is your spatial awareness, is the ability to understand the position of objects in relation to oneself and others. In handwriting, it supports letter sizing, spacing, alignment, and placement on lines. So sometimes a child, you will see that that when they would write, one letter is smaller, then the next would be bigger, or they would write like in a slanting direction. So this is very important to target the spatial awareness in OT. So one would be to easily adapt by giving them, this is where we put visual aids, such as giving them highlighted lines, giving them line papers, and all of those, a lot of the visual aids that we give. Sometimes even, as simple as dot to dot, even tracing, that is one intervention that we could do for spatial awareness. Next would be your figure ground perception. It is the ability to identify relevant visual information with a busy background. So this helps children locate information on worksheets and copy accurately from the board or page. So to target figure ground perception skills, this is where we use I Spy. I Spy would be a very popular intervention. And the next one would be visual closure, is the ability to recognize a complete form when only part of it is visible. In handwriting, so it would translate as, is the child able to identify, like, or is the child able to identify if even if this letter is covered partially, do they know which letter it is? Especially in spelling, especially when they are copying. Sometimes, sometimes, for example, a very practical example would be they're sitting down and they have classmates in front of them, and obviously, or like if the thing they need to copy is partially blocked, are they able to visually perceive this, the letters as they are, or the words as they are copying? So this is why visual closure is very important. Another an intervention would be like finding little toys in a box of in a box of like a lot of toys. So like finding, for example, a pencil in just a bunch of a box of toys. So this can be very tricky, but very important, a very important skill. Next would be form constancy. So the ability to recognize a form as the same despite changes in size, orientation, font, or context. Okay, so that covers much of it. All right, so visual integration skills for handwriting. So these are among the activities that I said. So these are the intervention or the activities that we can do and help the child for their visual integration skills, important for handwriting. So you have copying, as simple as copying from the board. And if they still struggle to copy from the board, one intervention that I would do, I would either use use a tacket and put the tacket on the wall or on whatever at the door, whichever is near to them, so it's easier for them to see. Or um, uh, putting it on their desk, like giving them a mini copy, or giving them like a standee and then putting the material they need to copy from there. So whichever works best and whatever level is the kid is on, I always start from there and then build up. And then another activity would be matching shadows to pictures. This is very important for, the recall. Mazes, puzzles, dot-to-dot worksheets, I Spy, and word search. Okay, so from our short lecture, can anyone choose a picture and describe which areas or skills are being practiced? So this is the same picture, and from our short lecture, you can choose any picture. You can unmute yourself or write in the chat box. So describe which areas or skills are being practiced in the pictures. So it can either be the gross motor skills that we discussed, the visual perception skills, the fine motor skills. I think it's a matter of being specific. Okay, Mary says monkey bars, gross motor skills. Correct. And monkey bars can also help with arch development. So yeah. So in reality, you cannot really separate each or any activity to one skill, because that's the beauty of these activities. It targets not just one, but several skills already. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Okay, if there's no one else, let me proceed. Okay, this is what the current research say. As I said before, in reality, you can't really isolate or separate tasks to target only one area. For example, when doing monkey bars, as we discussed, we're activating our gross and fine motor muscles, and also visual perception to grade how far to reach onto the next bar. So the beauty of play and simple tasks we do every day is simply this. But also keep in mind, we need to practice targeted activities to produce targeted results. This is where individualized programs or goals from occupational therapists come in. We find out which specific areas need support and then target the areas respectively. So the current research say here, handwriting intervention focused on fine motor and visual motor skills with active collaboration of OTs and teachers in the school setting have shown significant progress for children. Manipulation skills are important when children are establishing their handwriting capabilities, and writing develops through the integration of movement, coordination, spatial awareness, symbolic thinking, which need to be intentionally and systematically supported. And that is it for this discussion. Does anybody have questions or any clarifications? Please feel free. Okay, thank you, Miss Jill.
Thank you, Nydia.
Thank you, Adel. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining the simple discussion on pre-handwriting skills for successful handwriting. All right. Thank you, everyone. All right. Thank you, Miss Sophie. Thank you for joining. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Thank you, Miss Mary. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.